Hi all, good morning.
Good morning, Dilip.
So in our previous class, we were discussing on the DML statements. So the two types of DML statements we were discussing, the regular ones and the DML statements with the help of database class, right? So there were like all the 6 operations which we used to perform: insert, update, delete, undelete, upsert, and merge. So all these operations we have discussed, the basic DML statements, and also we have discussed the database dot insert, database dot update, database dot delete, undelete, upsert, merge, right? So these also we have discussed, and we also discussed like what what are the few drawbacks of using the normal DML statements when compared to the database class DML methods, right? So the normal DML statements are not doing the partial processing mechanism, whereas a database class methods does the partial processing mechanism. Okay, so so we have discussed each and every DML statement: insert, update, delete in detail, and also we have discussed all the SOQL queries. Okay, so right. So let us go to the next topic. Let me show it on the pane. Okay, so in our SOQL queries, we were writing the query in different ways, right? So how we were writing the query, like select. So we were using our select statement, and for that select statement, we are selecting the criteria on which field we need to search and on which object we need to search. So we are giving the criteria, right? So that's what we were doing in our select statement. But when it comes to our, so let's take an example. So we were writing the query like this. Industry rating from account object, and in that I want to pull something like where name like so if we know something like starting characters of the name, we were using Ram something and then followed by our percentile, right? So that means all the records which were having this name starting as Ram and then followed by a couple of characters. So we don't know the number of characters. So we give the percentage, but if it is only single character, we give it as underscore. So these are called wildcard characters, as we all know in any other programming languages, right? So here, the main thing which we were talking here is, uh, so we know like on which object we are going to search, and also we know on which fields we will be going to search, right? So we will be going to select the criteria, right? So here, when I say I know that it's on account object, and also the name starting with Ram, I know it is on it is on the field called name, right? So in the real-time scenario, there is a situation like I wanted to search a small piece of text. Let's say test. The text is test. And I am not sure where this particular keyword is present in my object. Okay. So let's say account or contact or lead. So I'm not sure on which field this particular uh, text called test is present. So in that case, how we are going to deal with that, right? So this our SOQL queries works only when we have um limited fields to be searched, and also when we know the field name and when we know the criteria, so then only our SOQL query works, right? But when I want to search a text called test and I am not sure on which field it is present, so in that case, we cannot write an SOQL query, right? So with multiple conditions, because each object has hundreds of fields and we cannot write a criteria for each and every field in our SOQL query. So that degrades the performance, and that's not the best practice, right? And it's going to be tedious, obviously, because hundreds of fields and writing condition for each field to search a small text. So that's where we are stuck up. So yes, Salesforce has provided one other feature called SOSL, Salesforce Object Search Language. So this is going to do the task for us. So the major benefits of the SOSL is like we will be searching for particular content, and we will be searching and we are not sure on which field the content is present. So in that case, we can go for SOSL and it will search the specified content in all the fields in the object. Okay. If that particular content, let's say test, is present, then it will record, it will return the all the records which are present, which are having that text content test in it. So all those records will be returned automatically. And SOSL queries, we write it with the help of SOQL, we were writing with select statement, right? So similarly, SOSL queries, we write it with a keyword called find. So find statement, we are going to use it. And then we are going to fetch the records based on our search criteria. Okay. So we come across this SOSL scenarios in the real time, in depending on the business requirement. Okay, like if your project is an e-commerce project, if your project is something like online retail project, so in that case, this SOSL comes into picture, and we will have to make use of SOSL in our programming, Apex programming. So yeah, there are scenarios. So it depends on business requirement. So yes, so for SOQL and SOSL also we have the governor limits. Okay, so how many SOQL queries you can write per transaction? SOQL, anyone? Right. So the governor limits for SOQL queries is 100 queries per transaction. So similarly, we have a governor limit for SOSL queries. Okay. So we can use maximum of 20 SOSL queries in a single transaction. Okay. So maximum 20, and an SOSL query can return a result of around 2000 records. Okay. Uh, so each SOSL query can return max of 2000 records, whereas our SOQL query can return 50,000 records. Okay. And also, we can search the content by using the SOSL query in a maximum of 20 objects at a time. In our SOQL query, we were performing the retrieval operation on our, usually on our single object, but we can also write the query on objects which are related together. If the objects are not related, probably SOQL query, we cannot write it, but we can write separately on each object, right? But SOSL query, we can write up to a maximum of 20 objects at a time. So we can use 20 objects at a time, and our query is going to search in all of these objects. Okay. And while, so we have the uh, syntax. So let me share. Yeah. So this is the syntax how we are going to write the SOSL query. Find and our search text. The search text should be enclosed in single quotes. Okay, yeah, we have two different types of SOSL queries, static and dynamic again. So for, yeah, while we are executing the SOSL query from query editor, we will have to enclose this single, instead of single quotes, we have to enclose it in flower braces for query, for invoking a SOSL query. Okay. So yes, find the search text, the text which you want to search, and then our in all fields. So we have a search group criteria also called, so while searching for content and SOSL, we have search groups. You can mention either in all fields, in email fields, in text fields, in phone fields. So these are the search groups which we have. So if you want to search in all fields, you can mention in all fields. But if you were sure that you are searching for an email ID, so let's say we can mention it as in email field. You were searching for just name, let's say, so probably we can go for in text fields, right? So if you were searching for phone number, in phone fields we can search, right? So usually we go with all fields because that's the main intention of our SOSL query. We want to, we are not sure which field we are going to, but again, these are not a very narrower group. Email is separate, text includes more, almost all the text fields. Let's say name, and then uh, all types of data types like text area, rich, text area, wrong. And you can also search anything which, any field whose contents are having a text. Okay. So that we can do. Even the address also we can do it, right? So the billing city, billing country, right? So those also comes under in all text fields. But if you want to go searching all the fields, you can use in all fields as the search. Okay. And this keyword returning. So returning is nothing but it is going to return us the records which are going to meet this particular search criteria, which are going to, be touched with our keyword which we have given in our search text. And we can here, so we can specify the object in which we want to search. So this is like up to a maximum of 20 objects we can specify. So at a time, SOSL query is going to search 20 objects parallelly, right? So that's the power of SOSL query. Whereas in SOQL query, we were not doing cross-object search, except in case of objects which are related. So we were doing the cross-object only in objects which are related. So that's like, let's say contact. So I want to fetch the industry field uh, from my contact object. Yes, I can do, because account and contact are related and industry is a field in my account object. So I can do with the help of relationship query. Yes, that is possible, but in SOQL, we cannot search, like we cannot search 20 objects at a time. So we cannot do that. So we can search for objects which are related, but not maximum like 20 objects at a time. So this is the powerfulness of SOSL queries. So we can search, and first thing, we can search in all the fields. Second thing, we can search up to a maximum of 20 objects at a time, right? So that's the thing which we were not able to do in our SOQL queries. Okay, right. So ways to invoke SL queries, it's the same as SOQL queries. So query editor and Apex programming. So query editor, again, it's for usually for us to find out the data in some cases. Okay, so if we have a customer request asking for some kind of information, probably we can fetch the data and analyze the data and then, share it. So it depends on some kind of ad hoc request, and also for your um, programming. If you want to write an Apex program, first you just want to check like whether your query was doing good or not. You have written a query and you want to check whether it's fetching the records which you were intended to fetch. So in that case, we will be going ahead and writing the query in the query editor. Okay. So by using query editor and by using the Apex programming, right? So we are going to just write a small query on, right. So write an SSL query to search the keyword test in all the fields of account, contact, lead, case, and hiring manager objects from the uh, and return the record. So this is the query. So I'll explain you in detail like what are all the things which we have in this particular query. Let's go ahead to our query editor. So we are on the developer console and we have this query editor. You can write down the field. Okay. So here our SOSL query starts with find keyword like SOQL in select, like select in SOQL query. And this is the search text which we want to search in our objects. Okay. So when we are writing it in query editor, you need to enclose the search text within flower braces. And this star is a wildcard character. So test followed by some words. Okay. That is possible. Test follow from preceded by some words, that is also possible. So everything inclusive. That is what we were mentioning for the search text. And this is our search group in all fields. I'm searching in all the fields and it should return me some values. So returning, and here in which objects I wanted to search, you can mention the details. Okay. Account, contact, lead, case. Okay. So here also, you can either search in all the fields in the account object, or you can also mention some fields. So I don't want to search like 500 plus fields in my account objects. So in that case, I know this particular text is going to be reside in few, at least like 5 to 10 fields in my account object. So I want to fetch those fields only. So those fields I can mention it here, like which fields to return. Okay. And this limit. So let's say our SOSL query is going to be returning maximum of 2000 records, right? So if let's say the test is present in account for like in 3000 records. I have my account objects with lakhs and lakhs of records. And in that, this particular keyword test is present in more than 2000 records in my account object. So in that case, what is going to happen? So only the records which are present in account are going to be written, and these are going to be ignored, right? So that's where I have a clause called limit clause. So even though you have found out like more than 2000 records in the account, I'm asking it to return only 10 records for me from the account, so that another 1990 records are available for me to search in other objects also, right? So that I can give by making use of this limit clause. So I'm limiting maximum 10 records only you show me from the account if the search criteria is met. Okay. Contacts, I'm not mentioning any criteria. And lead object, limit 25. Case, I'm not mentioning anything. So this is how you can write. You can either specify the fields or leave it as well. And it's going to search all the fields. Okay. But if you specify, it's going to return the records with these fields only. It's going to search in all the fields, but return type, returning the records with the field headings of this. Okay. Hope you are understanding. So the basic thing for our SOSL query is it's searching all the fields in an object. Okay. And this we are narrowing to, for the return type. We are narrowing it for the return type to fetch how much. Okay. So that we can do, and we can also limit like how many records should to be shown to us in the search criteria. That also we are doing. So let's go ahead and execute this particular query. Right. So this is our query, and these are the results. So in my account object, I have only 3 records. A maximum I allow 10, but I have only 3 records which has the keyword test. So test 1, 2, 3, test related records, test account, right? These 3 records are present and with the keyword test. So it's returning these 3 records. And if you see here in the context also, I have the test. Okay. So there are 3 records with the test and it's returning those 3. And in the lead object, there are many. Okay, but I have limited it like 25, and that's why it is returning only 25. Let's remove the limit clause on lead object and let's see how many it's going to return. Yeah. Yeah, so we have 53 records, 3, 3, and 53. So I think we have created the lead records with the help of like our data loader, or right. So insert statements, DML statements. So that's where so many lead records are present with sample test lead last name. Okay. So this is how we can write our SOSL query in simple terms, and we can execute it in our query editor. Okay. Right. So the next one is we have to so the next one, how we are going to do the SOSL query using the program. So we can do the SOSL query using the programming with the help of 2 different, like our SOQL, SOSL also has 2 different things, that is uh, static SOSL queries and dynamic SOSL queries. Okay. So in the static SOSL queries, we are going to put the So the SOSL query is fixed. Okay, so we are going to write it similar to our SOQL. We are going to write it in our square braces, and this cannot be dynamic. So we will have to fix on the search criteria and then write the SOSL query, place it in the square brackets. Okay, so it will be returning as the object type which we are going to return is our list of S object type. Okay, so so here if you see, so this is our SOSL query, let's see, and here I'm going to return some 10 records, right? And here I'm going to return how many contact records are there, those many with the search text test. And here I'm going to return 25. And here I'm going to return as many records present, right? So this one, what is the return type of this particular statement? What is the return type? What is the return type usually for our SOQL queries? Any data type or any collection type or any array type? Right? So it is going to return a set of records. So set of records, how we are storing usually. So in our collection type, right? So let's say this, we are getting the return type of list accounts, right? So list of account. And this one, we are going to get a return type of list of, second one, list of contact type. And third one, we are going to have list of lead object type. And fourth one, how we are going to have list of case object type. Right? So our SOSL query is returning different kinds of um object types, right? So these kind of objects, how we are going to store usually in our, how we are going to store. So different types of object records present in one single place. So anything can be stored. What is the data type is that? It's the, yes, anyone? So we can store anything. It's our S object type. Okay. So in our S object type, we can store anything. Maybe it's account objects, object records, lead object records, case object records. Okay. So we can store anything, right? So that's our S object. So we wanted to store this S object type records in our list, and this is also again going to store in another list. The reason being it's a list of list type, right? So our SOSL query is going to return list of objects of list. Okay, list of S object type. So this will be the return type for our SOSL query. Okay, right. So this is where the handling of this particular return type for our SOSL query, we will be have, if we want to pass through all the object records in each of this particular SOSL query, we can do explicit typecasting, and then we will be fetching the records and working on the records. Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, there is one small drawback on SOSL queries. The thing is, we cannot perform any DML operations on our records which are returned from SOSL queries. That's the uh, drawback for our SOSL queries. But the positive points is like we can search across the objects up to maximum of 20 objects at a time. And we can also search across the fields, all the fields within each object, right? So those are the positives of SOSL query, right? So this is going to be our return type for our SOSL query. Since these are different data types of object types, and everything we can store in a type called SObject type, and this is going to be a list of SObject type. So the return type for our SOSL query is list of SObject type. So yeah, for this, I reference name is equals to, so how we are going to write our SO. So this is how we can write our static SOSL query. Okay. So our SOSL query return type will be list of SObject type, and we can store it here. Okay. So this is our reference name. So how we are going to retrieve each values on the SOSL query return type, how we are going to do that? Yes, we can do it with a help of explicit typecasting. Okay, right. I will help you show you how to do that. Yes, and before, so this is all for static SOSL query. So let's talk a small detail about dynamic SOSL query. So in dynamic SOSL query, what we are doing is we can do the search, we can give the search criteria at the runtime, and we can also give the make the search content, search groups, and objects dynamic. Okay, so we can pass those things dynamically. We can do it at runtime. We can supply the search text. But whereas in static SOSL query, we have to get fixed on the search text and the objects which we are going to search while we are writing the query. But in dynamic, we can do it, we can pass those search text at the runtime. So that's the benefit of dynamic SOSL query. So the return type of dynamic SOSL query will be a string type. Okay. So in our SOQL query, while, so how we are calling the SOQL dynamic SOQL query using the database dot query method, right? So similarly for SOSL, we are using a class called search class, and in that we have method called query, search dot query method, and then we are calling our SOSL query. Okay. So let me show you the nodes, how it looks. Right. So SOSL static and dynamic. SOSL query static, we are writing it in square braces. And this is how we can do it. List of S object type. And that is what I have explained you. So our SOSL query is going to return multiple different types of data types like here. So that means, again, we are going to specify on which objects we are going to perform the search. Okay. Right. So while talking here, search, when I say search, so there is a prerequisite for us to search in the objects. Do you remember anything like while creating, we have multiple, while creating any type of objects, we have multiple fields for, okay, so I'm at my Salesforce or, and let's say, uh, let's go to our object manager. Okay, so here, if you are like uh, creating a new object, let's say, sorry, see, if you are going to create a new object, so there is some criteria called, no, I want to do it in, okay. So when you click on creating a new object in our Salesforce, we have a small checkboxes here, multiple checkboxes here, right? So can you see here? Yeah, we have a special checkbox here. Search status. When this setting is enabled, your users can find records of this object type when they search. Okay. So if you want to perform SOSL query on your object, this particular checkbox needs to be checked. Okay. So this is our new object, which I'm going to create. And in that, I'm putting this checkbox as checked. Then only when I'm searching this particular object, the search results will be shown. Okay. Otherwise, it is not shown. So this is the checkbox field where your search records will be displayed. So let's take a small example of our hiring manager object. So in the hiring manager object, I feel like I have so much of sensitive information. So I don't want to show it to all the users who do a SOSL query on my Salesforce org. So I don't want to show. So in that case, in the hiring manager object, while creating, I would be unchecking this particular uh, checkbox and click on that particular object, save on that object. So that particular hiring manager object, whenever you are trying to run an SOSL query on it, it is going to throw you a syntax error. Okay. So, I mean, it is going to throw an error and show you like in the problems, it is going to show this is not found. Okay. So if something, when you write a query, if you find something problem related to any particular object, so you will have to understand that the allowed search is whether checked on this particular object or not. So that you will have to keep in mind while writing SOSL queries. So this is one important point for our SOSL queries. Okay, so that's about static SOSL queries and dynamic. So yes, we can do the search text. We can provide the search text at the runtime. And this is how the syntax is going to look like. In the single quotes, we are going to place the query since it's going to return string value, but how we are going to catch hold of all the results of our dynamic SOSL query, making use of our same, the reference, it's going to return list of S object type. Okay. And how we are executing is we are using a class called search class in that method query. So search dot query method we are going to use, and we are going to place our SOSL query in that particular method. So this is how we will have to execute our dynamic SOSL queries. So the return type will be both the same SOQL and SOSL. It's list of S object type, and why I have shown you why it is list of S object type. Okay. To search for the content inside the objects, we have to make sure, yes, allowed search checkbox in the object settings. Okay, so this is one important point which you have to think. So again, from the interview point, also it's important. So the interviewer can confuse you by focusing on this particular checkbox field for SOSL queries, right? All right, so let's go ahead and write a small program, write an Apex program to search for a specified content in multiple objects at a time and represents the results in a log file. Okay, so this particular program, I just got it saved and ready for you. But yes, I'll explain you in detail and if you have any queries as well. So I have written a class. So let me open that particular class. Global search. So this is the class which I have written, and in that we have written a method called public void search records. Okay. So I'm writing a class for searching my multiple objects based on some of the fields. Okay. So yeah, we have taken the test because we have created multiple records using the test keyword, right? So that's where I am taking test as my search text. Right. So here, if you see, it's like normal class definition. And that class, I have written a static void search records method. Okay. Yeah. So my SOSL query. So this is a static SOSL query. So the return type is list of S object type, and list records is the reference name I'm mentioning. So here, if you see, so search group I have taken in all the fields and it is returning the value. So I have to mention the returning keyword. So find test. Test is the keyword, okay, which I wanted to search. I mean, the search text. And I want to search in all these different, 4 different objects. We can use maximum of 20 objects also. Okay, so we can write query for 20 objects also. And I am limiting the fields to be displayed for me. So yes, if you understand it correctly, SOSL is going to search all the fields in each object. But yes, the here we can also mention to return all the fields, but since it's going to be like unnecessarily, uh, you know, making the performance issue or, making the database server more involved, I don't want to do that. I want to return only few uh, fields in each of the object type. Okay, so for each record. So I am mentioning the return of each object, what fields needs to be returned. So yes, I have mentioned that. And contact object, account ID, name, rating, industry, annual revenue, customer priority. Okay, and contact ID, first name, last name, email, phone. Yes, but if you have multiple records, we can limit it like we were doing in our query editor. Okay. So if what if my account object has more than like it has lakhs of records and more than 2000 records which has this test keyword. So in that case, it's going to search only account record, right? So in that case, I can just go ahead and say limit 200, give only the first 200 records which having the keyword test, and the remaining 800 search results can be displayed. So for that, other objects can use it. So that is how we can mention our limit field, right? Contact, lead, ID, first name, last name, company, title, status, email, fax, and case object also, ID, case number, status, priority, origin, reason, subject, and we are closing this particular SOSL static query with the square braces. So this SOSL query is going to return what? It's going to return multiple account records, multiple contact records, multiple lead records, and multiple case records based on the keyword which we are searching, the search text which we are searching. So it can be one or more records in each of these objects. So I'm going with 4 objects. You can go maximum of 20 objects, right? So as I said, we will have to do the explicit typecasting in order to access each of these particular records, okay? Because this is of type list of S object type, okay? So SOSL query is working across the objects. So that's where we will have to segregate our objects uh, records, each object records separately. So that's where we will have to do the typecasting explicitly. And what is our list collection? So it's an ordered set or ordered list, ordered, right? Ordered collection, right? So our list is an ordered type collection. That's where. So, and how can we identify the records, the elements in each list, in the list? Do you remember? Yeah, collections, class. I hope you guys are here. So collections, we have 3 types: list, set, and map. In that, list is an order type of collection. So how we are going to fetch the elements of a list? Anyone? So list is order type, map and set are not order type of collections. Okay, let me show you that particular notes so that you can understand it clearly. So our list nodes. So list is an ordered type of collection which preserves the insertion order, right? So now in our programming, we are following some insertion order. Account object records first, then contact, then lead. So we are following, right? So the same order is going to be maintained in our list. So it's an order type of collection. And how we are going to traverse through the list collection. So how we are going to do? So we have this indexes, right, which starting from 0. So with the help of index, we are going to find out each element, and then how to get the uh, element in each of the index position. This is the method, right? So get of index position listed dot the list reference name dot get of index position. If we give, we are going to get our return. So yes, this is important. So yeah, that's why I'm showing it to you. Let's go back to our, yeah, that is what we are going to do. So I am working on 4 different objects. So I will have to explicitly typecast. So I'm storing, I wanted to store first part of, this is the first element in my list of list collection. So to get the uh, details or the field values of this, what do I need to do? This is my reference name dot get of 0, index position starting with 0. Account object uh, records are going to be stored at 0 index position, right? So these are going to be account records since we know it. So list of account type LST accounts is equals to this. So this is what we are doing, the explicit typecasting. So we are marking them as the account record types, and then we are storing in our account record list accounts of list. Okay, so we will have to do explicit typecasting, and since our list is an ordered collection, so we know on our SOSL query which object we have passed first and which object we have passed next. So based on that, based on the index position, we are going to do explicit typecasting and get those records. Okay. So this is what we were doing in this particular 4 lines of code. So the next is number of account records list. Okay, so size method we have for a list collection, LST account size we are displaying, and we were traversing through each of the records and displaying those records. Okay, for account record, LST accounts, account record is plus account record. So we are traversing for each record. How many are there? In that particular LST accounts, how many records are there for all those records, this for loop will iterate. So similarly, we are doing for all the 4 objects. So that means we are displaying all the records of each and every object, right? So this is what we were going to do in our particular SOSL query in our search methods method. Okay, so let's go ahead. So this is our class. And this is our method. So since this don't have any parameters, right? Let me save and this one. Okay. So it's going to return the account, contacts, lead, and case object records. And all of them are going to have the search keyword, the keyword called test, right? So test is the keyword which we are searching for. And this is how we can write a simple example program and then we can run it. So let's go ahead and run, execute. See here, you can see. So number of account records, even when we did the query editor search also, its account and contacts were 3 and leads were 53, right? So same. If you do this one, it's the same, 3, 3, and 53. And if you put lead object limit 20 and execute, you will have 20 records displayed here. And similarly, let's do it in our. So here also, if you can modify your limit, I'm putting 25. So my output should show maximum of 25 records. So let me save. Yeah, and let's execute. So it should show only 25 records, lead records. Even though it has 53, I'm limiting it to show only 25. Right? 3, 3, 25, 25, because I limited it for 25 records only. Previously, it was showing 53. And I fetched case records also, but there are no case records which are meeting this criteria. So let's try creating one small case record with the test and see whether it's returning or not. Okay. So go to our case object. Yeah. So here we are on the case object. Let's take a new case. Let it be related to test contact. Okay, we will not include our test keyword in this, but we will be including it in the description. Let's see that way. Okay. So let's see and save. What is it? Case origin. So origin should be supplied. I will say it as email. Let's say save. Okay, our case record is created 1029, and let's go ahead and execute our program again. Okay. So this is our code, and let me execute this. Debug only, and here comes our case record. So previously, if you see the log, case records, it's showing 0, and we have created a case record with the description. So in the description, we mentioned this is the test record case, right? So in any of the fields, okay, it can be in description, it can be in email, it can be in address field, anywhere. If you find the keyword test, please return that record to me. And that is what our SOSL query is going to do, right? So this is how we can write an SOSL query on our objects, right? So this is all about the SOSL queries. So let me reiterate all the important points of SOSL queries, right? So when I say all the important points to be noted from the interview point of view also, okay? So the SOSL queries are used to search. The small drawbacks of SOQL queries is like we cannot search if we do not know the field name. Probably we are not sure the search criteria in that case on which field we want to search. If we are not sure of that, we can go for SOSL query instead of SOQL. That's one thing. And also in SOQL, we can search across the objects, but when the objects are related based on the criteria, okay? That is called the relationship query. So where we will be, if you need to search an industry field on account on contact object, yes, we can search because industry is a field on account and account or contact are related. So we can do it through SOQL query. But if we want to search more number of objects at a time, so we can do it with the help of SOSL query, like maximum of 20 objects we can search across the objects. So that's the benefit of SOSL query. And coming to the governor limits of SOSL queries, so we have a governor limits for SOSL queries. So maximum of 20 SOSL queries per transaction, whereas SOQL it's 100. And we can query maximum of 20 objects at a time. And we cannot perform any DML operations on SOSL query. returned objects. Okay, SOSL query. On the SOSL query, returned list of as object type, we cannot perform the DML operations. That's the drawback of it. Yes, and we can return maximum of 2000 records at a time with the help of our SOSL query, whereas in SOQL we get 50,000 records at a time. Okay, and the syntax, search groups, and the type of SOSL query is static and dynamic, along with our example query in the query editor and example program in our developer console. So yes, that's all given in the notes. I will share it with you, right? So that is all about SOSL queries. So when it comes to the real-time scenario, yes, we make use of SOSL queries, but it will be depending on the type of business requirements. Okay. So if your business is into online retail or e-commerce type, or yeah, where the search operation needs to be performed multiple times. So in that scenarios only we make use of SOSL queries. But from the interview point of view, you will be asked the questions on this as well. That's where we will have to cover this topic. And one important point is, if you need to search the objects, you will have to, while creating the object, we can edit the object as well. So allow search is the checkbox which we will have to be checked if it needs to be allowed in our SOSL queries. So we took an example of our hiring manager object where it has so much of confidential information, like the packages, maximum budget for that particular position, all this. So I don't want to show those details to everyone in the Salesforce org. So I will not allow my hiring manager object in the search for SOSL. So I will not check the checkbox allow search while creating my hiring manager object. Okay. Of course, we can edit in between also. We can edit the particular object. If it is allowed, we can uh, uncheck it and not allow it in SOSL queries. So, right. So this is all about SOSL queries. We will meet again in an hour with our triggers, Apex triggers. That is also a very important concept. Yeah. Uh, yeah, that is all for now. Thank you.
Thank you.